So we have just perused the New York Times article on the dinner party that started the Harlem Renaissance. So Abby, what do you think of the interactive section?
I thought it was pretty cool. I mean, just like a good introduction to what they kind of talked about in the article. And I thought it was just like, I didn't really know that the Harlem Renaissance was not covered by media at the time,
because I thought it would be a lot more popular, actually.
Because we do learn about it in like US history like right now, and it's like it has a whole section in like the chapter.
So more than one chapter.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty interesting how it wasn't like really made public until a lot later, at least, and how they kind of had to piece it together with like just like a lot of archive work and stuff like that.
Yeah. Actually, though, was jazz not like a thing? Like, did people not like jazz and like ragtime and stuff?
Well, they like.
Do you think?
Well, like, jazz was like central to 1920s cultures, like especially with jazz bars and just like urbanization and people tending to go to like these places, especially the working class, to just kind of like let loose. But before that, like a little historical context, I guess, for like this movement would probably be the rise of like ragtime and blues back in like the late 1800s to the early 1900s, like 1910-ish.
Yeah, 1910-ish.
Yeah, it was also like just, I guess, the start of integration of like African American music into the mainstream.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, but like outside of like just music at the time, like just being realistic, Jim Crow was still a thing. Like the article said, how like even after the dinner party, once they got out, they would still have to face like Jim Crow laws and that. So yeah, and we also know that in the article they talk about multiple very influential people, like Elaine Locke, something Johnson, W.E.B. Du Bois. Yeah. Well, we know W.E.B. Du Bois. When we looked at the little slide with all the people that were really influential, we only knew Du Bois.
Well, so, he's like obviously very influential, like especially with the creation of things like the NAACP and just like Black Uplift movements, which was very, I guess it was more intense during this time, even though it had pre-existed during like, I guess, second industrial revolution.
Yeah, and we know that he's like the first African American to graduate Harvard with a PhD. Yeah, he's a radical kind of, because in APUSH we learned between Du Bois and Washington.
Oh yeah, Washington. That's actually interesting because he was like something about him making like a talented 10th idea, which was like uplifting, like, I guess, African Americans in education, and then Washington was too like they were like he was too like appealing to the whites and stuff like that. So that's definitely something that's important about him. But yeah, do you have anything else?
I don't know. I think you could talk about Zora.
Yeah, so we actually learned about Zora in U.S. history, and she kind of like was the one who brought up the idea that to understand African American culture, you don't have to like kind of go through all the oppression and slavery. It can just be like the folklore, like the culture behind it, like the storytelling. Not about oppression. Yeah, not just about slavery, just like painting that one-time picture of everything.
Yeah, so I definitely think that was pretty interesting. The article, I would say, is a lot more like analytical and like talking about what the cause and effect that happened with the dinner and Harlem Renaissance. But overall, I think it's a pretty interesting topic.
Yeah. Thank you. Bye-bye.